Hello everybody, I'm Jessica Lily and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here or you haven't already, then please make sure you've hit the subscribe button down below. I thought I would come on here and do a 90s supermodel inspired makeup look. So this is the finished result. So if you'd like to see how I created this look, then please keep watching. To start, I am taking my by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Primer and I'm just going to squirt a little bit on the back of my hand. So I'm just applying this all over the face and I'm focusing it more on any areas that are more shiny, like my forehead, my nose and my chin, so the T-zone mainly, just because the makeup tends to come off quicker in those places, so it will last longer throughout the day. So once you've applied the primer, I'm applying my by Terry, and you'll have to forgive me on how I'm pronouncing this, TERRYBLY DENSILISS foundation. So it's a ultra firming and anti-wrinkle smoothing foundation and it gives a semi-matte finish. And I'm going to take my IT Cosmetics brush, and this is the number 6 Heavenly Luxe buffing brush. And I'm just applying that all over my face. And when I apply it, I'm just pressing it into the skin. I love how smooth the finish is on this foundation. It just looks like your skin, but it still has that coverage that you need. It's not heavy on the skin either, and it lasts throughout the day as well, which I really, really love. So a big thumbs up for the by Terry. I've just recently started to use their makeup brand and I actually really love it. I'm so impressed by their products. Everyone I've used so far I'm honestly in love with. I really love them. So if you're thinking about investing in some by Terry products, I highly recommend. I'm then taking my beauty blender and I'm just picking up anything left on the back of my hand and I'm just going over what we've done to really press it into the skin. It needs to be nice and flawless and natural for the look we're going for. I'm now taking my DIOR Forever Skin Correct and this is in the shade 1W and I'm going to apply it under my eye and the sides of my nose, and then just repeat on the other side. And then I'm going to take a line on my chin down the centre of my nose, and then I want to do an upside down triangle on my forehead area and then just join that up with the line on your nose. Any leftover concealer on the brush or on the applicator, I just pop a little bit onto my eyes just because this creates a nice base. Sometimes I pop a little bit on my upper lip as well. I'm now picking up my Morphe brush. This was in a set, so I'm not actually sure of the number, but it's like a buffing brush, so I just go over the areas where we've popped the concealer and I really just make sure this is nice and blended. Another little trick I tend to do as well is on my smile line here, I bring it down and then I also work the concealer up here because we want it to be lifted up. And I love this concealer. It's so smooth and it doesn't cake, it doesn't go tight underneath, it doesn't crease. Honestly, I just love it. Here I'm just again doing the same, just really blending that into the skin. We want to blend out these lines. We don't want anything showing. Any lines are a no. And if I have any residue left on the brush, I just take a little bit and I dab it over any blemishes I may have, which are still showing through. Then picking up my sponge, I'm just blending over my whole face again to really make sure this is all seamless. Now our concealer's done, I'm taking my Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate palette, and this is in the shade Intensity 1. I don't really want to show you the state of this palette, it is a mess, so I'm not going to show you that. But it has a lighter shade and a darker shade, so I'm taking the darker shade and I'm going to take my number 7 concealer brush and just pop this into the darker shade. So I'm taking it from my ear and blending it inwards, doing the same on the jaw. And then on my temple, I'm just going to do some lines here and then bring them up to the forehead. So once we've got our contour complete, we need to blend that in. So I'm taking again my Morphe brush from my pack. It doesn't have a name, I'll just have to pop it in the description box down below. It's just a basic flat top buffing brush, and we want to swirl that into the skin. Really make sure that's nice and contoured and blended. This is just going to emphasise the cheekbones, make your bone structure look more chiselled. Oh, I just love it when I contour my face. It just, oh, I don't know, I just miss contouring my face. Now I'm picking up my by Terry, and this is my hyaluronic Hydra powder, and this is the shade Translucent. I think they do this in a couple of other shades. So I'm just popping a little bit in the top of my powder pot, and I'm going to take my Morphe buffing brush again, and I'm just popping this on top a little bit and then dabbing the excess, and I'm going to focus this underneath my eye where we've popped the concealer. So I just want to set all that in place. And oh my god, I am in love with this powder. So I find that a lot of powders on me, under eye setting powders, they tend to go quite tight, and I hate that feeling. I have to take off all my makeup again, and it's just, yeah, it's just not good. But this, honestly, it's so lightweight and airy, but it still gives you that coverage you need, and it still sets your under eye in place without the cakiness and the tight feel. And also it is a dream for not making your concealer crease, so I'm all for it and I absolutely love it. I couldn't recommend it more. So that is another translucent powder apart from my Laura Mercier powder, which I absolutely love. So if you are on the lookout for another powder, I highly recommend the By Terry Hydra powder. And I'm also doing it across my eye as well, just so it gives us a nice base for when I apply my eyeshadow. I'm also doing it on my chin a little bit where we applied the concealer, and on my forehead as well. Just ever so lightly, just dusting the powder over. I'm going to pop a little bit more under my under eye, and I'm taking my beauty blender and I'm just focusing it at the sides and underneath more. You have to pinch your sponge a little bit while doing this, just so you can get that nice neat edge. So I look crazy at the moment, don't worry. It's not going to look like this, I promise. Whilst that's sitting in and baking into my face, I'm going to take my, ow. Honestly, I'm not really used to wearing nails this long. Been going through a phase recently. I thought I'll try it out, and I'm not really used to it, especially doing my makeup. It's quite hard work, so I don't know whether I'll go back short. I feel like I probably will. But anyway, sorry, I'm mumbling on. So I'm taking my IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe Airbrush Powder and Bronzer Brush, and I'm going to dip this into my Laura Mercier. This is the Candle Glow Sheer Perfecting Powder, and I have this in the shade Free. So just giving that a little swirl. Wherever we've contoured, I'm just applying it to those places. To just deepen the contour. I'm also going to bring it down my neck and on my chest a little, just to bronze it. And don't forget your ear as well, because, well, ears, not one ear. So that gives such a lovely and bronzy glow to the skin. And then the same on the other side. Again, not forgetting my ears. And I also like to go under my chin a little. This just creates a smaller looking chin, so if you feel like you have a double chin, this is a good little trick I've learnt. Taking my fluffy brush, which is my Morphe brush, I'm just going to dust over my powder I've placed under my eyes and just blend that all in so it's nice and smooth. So now I'm moving on to blush, and I'm going to be taking my Morphe brush again. This is a powder brush, an angled powder brush. I just find this really good for blusher and bronzer as well, so you can switch it up a little bit and use it for both. And I'm taking my NARS Orgasm liquid blusher. So I've actually broken the pot, so I can't really show you because it's just going to get a massive mess and I can't be dealing with that, so I will just show you obviously when I'm applying it. So it comes in a little pot. I've had the powder and I've had the liquid blush, and I honestly love them both so much, but I just find the liquid blush, you need the tiniest little bit and it goes such a long way and it gives such a beautiful finish, which I'll show you now. I just take a little bit up of the blush. Normally you would pump it, but obviously my pump's broke, so I can't show you. And when I apply it to my cheekbone here because I want it to be really lifted. And oh my god, I'm obsessed with this blusher. Like, I don't know if I'll ever change blush. I'm on the lookout for another blush which I will love just as much as my Orgasm blush, but I haven't found one yet. So if you know of any blushes which are a lovely pink shade, let me know in the comments down below, because I'd love to try and experiment with some new blushes. But as you can see, it just gives such a lovely finish. So I applied that on my cheekbone, just so it's more lifted. So I'm going back in with my Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate palette and my number 7 concealer brush, and I'm just going to contour my nose. So I'm just taking it down the sides here. And then bringing it up like so. To blend that out, I'm just taking my fluffy eyeshadow brush and I'm just going to go over the contour. I'm going to go back in with my Laura Mercier bronzer and my bronzing brush by It's Cosmetics, and I'm just applying a bit more to my cheeks just to really make them appear quite chiseled. I'm now taking my iconic illuminating drops, and these are in the shade Original, and I'm just going to pop a couple of drops on my nose, a bit on my Cupid's bow, in the corner of my eyes as well. Then I'm just going to blend that in. So I'm going to use my MAC pencil brush, and I'm just going to blend that in where we applied it. And oh, I love this liquid highlighter, honestly. I've been using it for so long and it's just my favourite. I've never found anything as good as the iconic, and I love the fact that you can use it on sort of on your body, on your face. It's just so versatile and it gives such a lovely glow. It comes in different shades as well, but I've got the shade Original. I think it has like a pinkier shade too, maybe a sort of lighter shade as well. But this shade for me personally is just the one I like to stick to. So I now take my fingers and I just sort of blend my nose contour together because I don't want it to be that you can see it, so I like to take my fingers and go over it. And then picking up my DIOR Backstage contour palette, and I'm going to be using this shade here. I'm just taking a little bit and I'm just going to apply it under my cheekbone so it's nice and contoured and chiseled. I'm not taking too much, just a tiny bit. And then a bit under my jaw as well. And now I'm moving on to eyes. I'm taking my DIOR Backstage Custom Eye Palette, and this is in the shade 001 Universal Neutrals. So it's got lovely golds, silvers, browns, whites, and it's got a gel in there as well, so it's really good for customizing whatever eye look you're going for. So you can really switch it up with this palette. Sometimes I do more dramatic looks, sometimes I do more day-to-day looks. Just chuck my pencil on the floor. Great, absolutely great. So I'm going to take a flat brush here and just dip it into this lighter shade, the white one, and I'm applying that all over my lid. So this is going to give us a sort of base. I'm now taking my MAC buffing brush, and this is the sorry the numbers rubbed off, I think it's the M304 or the M504, but I will list it down below in the description box anyway. I've had this brush for so many years, honestly, and I can't give up on it. I just love it. When it dies on me, I'm going to be so sad. I'm just dipping it into my Laura Mercier Candle Glow powder in the shade Free, and I'm taking it on the outer edge of my eye and just really pulling it up here to create almost like a soft wing. Like that. And then I'm just going over my crease very lightly. I'm going to go back into my DIOR custom palette, and I'm going to take this shade here, and I'm just popping that on the edge here, the edge of my eye. Then going back in with my buffing brush and just making sure that's all blended in. Now I'm going to take this dark chocolatey brown in the centre, and I'm just picking up a little bit, and I'm going to brush that over, almost creating a wing. So just really building up the colour. So once you've done that, I'm taking the same brush and picking up a little bit more of the colour, and I'm just going to apply that under my eye. Now I'm taking my Wet n Wild brown eye crayon pencil, and I'm going over my lash line and creating a nice wing. So anywhere you've been with the brown, just want to deepen that colour and then pull the wing out ever so slightly, so you have that nice winged look. So once we've done our wings, you need to blend it a little bit more. So I'm just going back in with my pencil brush and just really making sure that's nice and blended. I'm now going to take my DIOR highlighting palette. This is the DIOR Backstage Glow palette, and this is in 001 Universal. So it has a pink, gold, a champagne-y and a more pearlized one in there. So I'm just going to pick up this pearlized colour here, and I'm applying that to the inner corner of my eye. It's such a nice highlight, I love it. The littlest bit goes such a long way. So I'm taking my Wet n Wild brown eye pencil again, and I'm just going to tightline my waterline. So I tend to do this by closing my eye and just running the pencil back and forth, and then that tightlines then the upper lid. It's not the most comfortable feeling in the world, but you do get used to it. Ow. I spoke too soon. I just poked myself in the eye. Ugh. So now moving on to mascara, I'm going to be using the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Push Up Lashes. So I've recently only started using this mascara. The lady recommended it to me on the counter, as I said I wanted the Legendary lashes, the one I always use, and she said, oh, we'll try the push up lashes because I've used it and I really love it. So I was like, you know what, I'll just try it, see how I get along with it. So at first I didn't really like it. I was kind of hating on it. I was like, oh, this is not the one. And then after a little while it sort of like grew on me, and now I absolutely love it. It really does push up your lashes, and I just feel like you have to get used to it. You really have to play around with it a little bit and almost let it dry out, because it's quite fluidy at first, and when they're so fluidy it just gets in a massive mess. So I like to let it dry out a little bit, and then you get the sort of the best results from it then. But yeah, I absolutely love this mascara. I think it's really, it does as it says on the tin. It pushes up your lashes, gives them volume, length and definition as well. So if you're on the hunt for a new mascara, I would say try it, see what you think. I'm going to take my concealer brush and pop a little bit of my concealer just on this brush, just the tiniest bit. I'm going to take it off the actual pot here, and because I want this to be super straight, I'm just creating a little line underneath my eyeshadow there. That will just really help to create more of a neater line and lift the look up as well, because you really want it to be nice and winged and smoked out. And then the same that side as well. So it looks a little crazy right now, but I am going to blend it in. So I'm taking my NYX micro brow pencil in the shade Espresso, and I'm just going to start with the spoolie end and just brush my brows up into place. So once they're brushed into place, I'm going to take my pencil end, starting from the inner part, I'm going to just line along the bottom of my brow. Just so it appears slightly neater, and fill in any areas just slightly. Now moving up to the top part, so I'm going to go across the top. We just want to make that appear slightly thicker, so we're just going over it to fill them in. And this part I tend to fill in a little bit more, just because obviously the tail end is always slightly more sparse than your centre of your brow. And remember guys, eyebrows are sisters, not twins. They're not twins, okay? We always have one brow better than the other, so we're never going to get them exact, just as long as they look pretty much symmetrical. That's what we're aiming for. And once we fluff them up anyway, it's all going to go into place. So don't panic too much about how symmetrical they are, because it doesn't really matter once you've gone through your brows with your spoolie and your setting gel as well. So sometimes I just shade a little bit in the inner part here. Then I take my spoolie end again and I'm just brushing that all through. This was the part I was saying, you don't have to worry about it being super neat and symmetrical, because we're brushing the spoolie through anyway. Now I'm taking my Benefit Highbrow pencil and I'm just going underneath the brow. So this is quite a pinky toned highlighter, but it hasn't got a shimmer to it, it's just a sort of matte highlighter, which for this look is perfect. So I'm taking that, and then I'm taking again my concealer brush and I'm just going to blend that in. Now I'm taking my Benefit again 24-hour brow setting gel, and I'm just fluffing up my brows so they have that sort of, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, fluffy look. So I'm just pulling it through, just making sure they're all nice and fluffed up. And I love this setting gel, honestly it just stays all day. I'm now applying my lip liner and I'm going to be using MAC STRIPDOWN. And I love this colour, it's like a brownie nude, so it's like perfect for a nude lip. And then I'm taking my MAC Honey Love so now I'm going to take my Kiss RITZY false lashes and I'm going to apply these off camera, so I'll be right back. So this is the finished look. It's very 90s supermodel inspired, with the winged out eye look and the natural nude lip as well, with a little bit of blush but very bronzy and chiseled. So I absolutely love this look, and it's definitely something I would wear out on a night out or to dinner. If you enjoyed this video, then please remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, then please hit the subscribe button down below. I appreciate all the support and love.